What do you mean? We are making lasagna today.
Yeah.
Yay. I used to love making lasagna, especially in, I guess I was in high school. I made lasagna a lot. And it wasn't really fancy lasagna. It was just lasagna following the instructions on the lasagna box. But I really enjoyed making it. And in my 20s, I met a little Italian worker that worked for my mom. And I tried her lasagna one day and it was amazing. And so she gave me some tips on how she made her lasagna. And so I've been making my lasagna that way ever since. And her secret, or I don't think it's so much a secret now because I think there are a lot of recipes out there, but she says she adds a white sauce to it. And so that's what I've been doing all these years, is adding a white sauce to the layers in my lasagna.
So you're going to share that secret with the viewers? You just did.
I am, but again, it's not that big of a secret anymore. Yeah, but I find it's really tasty, and I also use the white sauce instead of using a ricotta cheese, which I know is not equal or the same, but I prefer it this way.
You can do it however you want to.
Yes, that's true. You can do it however you want. It's going to be a super simple recipe today because I've already made my Bolognese sauce and I followed my recipe that you can find here. Also, the bechamel, it's another word for white sauce. The bechamel sauce I've used before in my bacon mac and cheese, and you can find that recipe here as well. So we're just gonna start with the simple bechamel sauce, and I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter.
You had me at butter. Now, if you bring in bacon into that, wow. Double threat.
Well, you know what? There's bacon in the Bolognese sauce.
What?
There's always bacon in the Bolognese sauce. Otherwise, what is the point?
Thanks. I love you.
Right, once the butter is melted, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to cook this for a couple of minutes.
Are you making a roux?
I am. So this is what a roux is. It's just flour and butter being cooked. All right, so starting to change color already. And you kind of want this little caramelly color. And add a little bit of milk at a time to make sure. I'm adding about a cup of milk. There'll be a total of 2 cups of milk, but you want to make sure that the flour, that there are no lumps in here from the roux. I'm gonna add the rest of the milk. And you're just gonna cook this until it thickens. All right, we're almost there. My mistake here was using 2% milk. I normally have whole milk, but we just recently switched the kids over to 2%, and now it's like messing with my cooking.
The tragedy.
So it's not as thick as I would like, so I've been trying to reduce this a little bit. You want it to coat the back of a spoon. So this is still a little bit lighter than I would like. I want it to be thicker. So if you watch my mac and cheese video, you'll see how thick it should be. A little bit thicker than this. But I think I'm gonna stop here because I don't want to scorch my milk either. So people, use whole milk, don't use 2%. Then add about half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna give it 2 really good pinches here. And maybe a little bit more. I have about a pound of mozzarella here. We're just going to hand grate that.
Wow, that's a lot of cheese.
Out of one block, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna transfer it to a bowl. I am lining my pan because I'm using a push pan. It's the only one I have that fits in the Instant Pot. So I am going to line this with parchment paper so it doesn't seep through.
And how big is said pan?
This is a 7-inch by 3-inch. I'm going to start with a layer of meat sauce.
And is there bacon in there?
Of course there's bacon in there.
Like the...
Just start with a layer. And I'm using these no-bake lasagna noodles. And I'm going to have to break these in half. So I'm going to break them into thirds actually. They should, you know what they need to do? They need to start making round lasagna sheets. So another scoop of meat sauce on top.
I think you should be putting like whole slices of bacon in there. Ooh yeah.
We're gonna do a scoop of the bechamel sauce.
If anybody thinks there should be more bacon in there, comment below.
And your cheese. I'm going to use some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Maybe 2 tablespoons per layer. I just started here.
There you go.
You don't have to break as much, right? Last layer. Use the rest of your white sauce to cover. And then finish off with the cheese. All right. I have about a cup of water in the inner pot. I'm going to put these little foil handles on my trivet handles. That will make it easier to lift in and out.
That you talked about in the tips.
My tips video. You can also find here. And stay that in. And I know that with all that condensation that I don't want my lasagna to get wet, so I'm going to use my silicone lid here to just cover it. It's not going to create a seal or anything, but it's just going to cover, make sure that no water drips into my lasagna. Fold that down. Okay. Locking the lid in place. The sealing knob is on sealing. And we're going to manual to 20 minutes. That's it. It took 11 minutes for it to come up to pressure and then 20 minutes to cook. And then I just did a quick release. And let's see what we've got here. See how there's that liquid on top of the silicone lid?
That would have wound up.
That would have wound up in the cheese otherwise. And if you don't like it looking white like this, you can stick it under the broiler and brown it.
The taste. I would have preferred it browned on top, but that's just me. I like the crispy bits of cheese and the way it looks visually when it's browned in the oven. But hey, that's just me.
You could have put it in the oven to brown the top.
Right, as you said, there is that option to do that. But ultimately, it's about the culmination of flavors. Your Bolognese sauce is like so good with the bacon. It's always like the gold standard for me. But when you blend it in with cheese, it culminates into a great combo. The noodles are cooked through, just nice. Still al dente. Yeah, aside from the browning of the cheese, all the flavors come together, and that's what I really enjoy about your 2-sauce lasagna, is that it's a mellow flavor but a rich flavor with the bechamel. So thanks, Flo.
Awesome. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you can still make this recipe in the oven. I would stick it in a 375-degree oven for at least 45 to 50 minutes. I made enough Bolognese sauce that could make a 9 by 13 inch pan of lasagna. That recipe for the Bolognese that we had mentioned earlier actually is my very first YouTube upload, which I can't believe it was that long ago. But In that episode, I made like a lot of bolognese sauce. So what I made today was half of that recipe. And I would also double the bechamel sauce and maybe even double the cheese if you're gonna make a whole pan. But because this was going in the pressure cooker, I had to cut everything in half so that it would fit. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Come find me on Instagram. And if you like these aprons, please check them out. You can purchase them online. The link is in the description. There's still time to enter to win this apron on my blog, and that link is also in the description. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.